Like for instance, in this room, you probably already know we have a pastor, we have a prior judge, a previous mayor, we have a scuba diver who just walked out. But we have such talent and such amazing things that are in this room alone. And I want you to spend a little bit of time. I know that you know each other, but I want you to kind of get to know each other just a little bit better. I want you to, I know there are tables of 3. You have a card in front of you. And on one side it says I am. On the other side it's blank. What I want you to do is to put a line on the side that doesn't say I am, right down the middle. Yeah, on the blank side. Yes.
On the blank.
On the blank side, just put a line right down the middle. And if you're at a table with just 2 people, you don't have to do that. Okay? You'll see why in a second. Okay? You'll see why in a second. Okay. I want you to look at the people at your table. So if you're just 2 of you, you're just going to do it together. If there's 4 of you, just pick 1 person at the table. And 3, you're going to do it both ways. I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but it's because we have different people at different tables. I want you to really look at the people at your table. I want you to look in their face. I want you to see what they look like. I know it feels a little strange. Okay. Look at the way that they wear their hair. Kind of, if they have perfume on, how do they smell? Hopefully it's good. You might smell like my food, and that's okay too. Okay. But I just really want you to see them. And I want you to write down 3 or 4 positive things about that person that you see. Okay? If you know them, if maybe you know they have a very outgoing personality, write that down. If maybe you're going to need even more space because the people at your table are that awesome. Okay, that would be really, really good. But if you like the way they carry themselves, if you like the way that they speak, if you love the earrings they have on, if you love the fact that they're a wonderful employee, whatever it is that you like about that person, it can be only positive things. So take just a second and do that. Okay? Beside the blank side. There's one on the other side says I am.
I mean, I'm not over there.
No, maybe the other side.
And I know this could take an hour because you're all that wonderful, right? Mm-hmm. See, they're busy working.
I mean, they have normally. Somewhere in the Caribbean 25, 30 years ago. Okay, I'll pay you later.
Are you finding that easy to do? Yeah. When we're looking at other people, it's easy to come up with all kinds of wonderful things.
Another person.
Is it supposed to be this side or the blank side?
One side says I am, and the other side is blank.
Look at us.
I'm not going to grade them, so it's okay. All set? Okay. Good. Now just hang on to that because we're going to come back to it in just a little bit. Okay. I was asked to introduce myself, which is something that I do tend to get a little bit shy about doing, but because I was asked, I will. Again, my name is JoAnn Johnson, and some of you may know me as a caterer, but that is a very small part of who I am and what I do. I am actually the only bachelor's level psychotherapist in charter hospital history, and I was considered a dementia and Alzheimer's expert. I created training manuals for the United States Air Force that doctors they used them nationwide to train other doctors. I was in the United States Air Force, again, I said that. I was a combat medic. You can see I get a little nervous when I talk about me. I can do other stuff all day long, but I do that. I was a CEO for a media research company. I was a professional spokesmodel in Beverly Hills for a very short time. I was a business instructor for many years. I taught fundamentals of business and ethics and managerial leadership. I'm a wife and a mom to 4 beautiful children. I have 2 young grandchildren. I am a book author and a television show host. I have 2 shows. I have one called Empower Your Body, Empower Your Mind, which is on the Now Network. It's also being seen as here, but it's also being viewed in Canada. And I have another show called Party Flippers, which is being negotiated now at the national level. We're not sure which network that's going to be going to, but we're waiting on contracts and things to come back right now for that. And I do own a catering company called All J's. And next week I'm going to go get my real estate license just because I feel like it. Okay? So, actually that's not even really true. I'm getting it because my house was on the market for a few months and it didn't sell. And I just said, well, just get out of my way, I'm just going to do that. So, you know, the point being, I share that with you because we are so amazing. We're amazing people and we're women and we are capable of doing so much, right? And I know that there is so much talent in this room. That's why I asked you to take a second and to look at your neighbor and to kind of take stock of who you're sitting with, because we as women are fantastic people. And yes, my resume is impressive, but I'm sure that yours is equally as impressive, if not more. Today we're going to talk about 3 things. One is the importance of women supporting women. The other is asking for help. And the third is having confidence after a loss. So I have to tell you a little story. I say it's little. It's very